The silver ship moved through space like a knife-cutting silk. Commander Lyralai Moonwhisper stood on the bridge watching the small blue planet grow larger on her screen. Her pointed ears twitched as she studied the world below. The third planet, from this yellow star, looked so peaceful from here, but her scanners told a different story. Lyralai had silver hair that fell to her shoulders and blue eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light of her ship. She was tall and graceful like all high elves and had lived for 300 years. In all that time, she had never seen a species quite like the ones living on this world they called Earth. Captain Vexalia stepped up beside her commander. The alien woman had dark blue skin and 4 arms that moved with perfect coordination. Her people, the Catherians, could read thoughts from other beings, and right now she was sensing something unusual from the planet below. "Commander, the inhabitants of this world are strange," Vexalia said in her soft voice. "They fight each other constantly, but their minds show incredible creativity and determination." Lyralai smiled in the way that high elves did when they thought they knew better. "All primitive species fight among themselves, Captain. It shows they have not learned the wisdom of unity like the Empire has. These humans will be easy to conquer." The Empire had been expanding across the galaxy for 1,000 years. 47 star systems had fallen to their advanced technology and superior weapons. The pattern was always the same. The Empire would arrive with overwhelming force, and the primitive species would surrender rather than face total destruction. Those who joined the Empire willingly were treated well. Those who resisted were enslaved or eliminated. Lyralai had commanded fleets in 12 conquest campaigns. She knew how these situations played out. The humans would see the Empire's superior technology and submit. Within a few months, this system would be producing resources for the Empire, and the humans would be working in the mines and factories like all the other conquered species. "Begin deep scans of their military capabilities," Lyralai ordered. "I want to know everything about their weapons and defenses before we make contact." The scans revealed exactly what Lyralai expected. The humans had primitive chemical rockets that could barely reach their own moon. Their weapons were crude projectile throwers and simple explosive devices. They had no energy shields and no faster-than-light travel. Most telling of all, they were divided into hundreds of different nations that seemed to spend most of their time threatening each other. "Look at this," Lyralai said, pointing to the tactical display. "They have enough nuclear weapons to destroy their own planet several times over, but they point them at each other instead of working together. These humans are even more primitive than I thought." Vexalia was not so sure. Her telepathic abilities let her sense the deeper currents of human thought, and what she found there made her uncomfortable. The humans were not afraid of death the way most species were. In fact, many of them seemed to welcome dangerous challenges. Their minds were filled with stories of heroes who fought impossible odds and won through determination and cleverness. Far below on Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison was having a very different conversation. She stood in the command center of humanity's deep space monitoring station, looking at the same silver ship that Lyralai commanded. Kate was 45 years old with short brown hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. She had spent 20 years in the military and had never backed down from a fight. "Ma'am, we're detecting an unknown vessel at the edge of our solar system," reported Commander Lisa Park. Lisa was younger than Kate, with long black hair and quick, intelligent eyes. She had graduated at the top of her class from the Space Academy and specialized in tactical analysis. Kate studied the readings on her screen. The ship was clearly alien and far more advanced than anything humanity had ever built. It was also scanning Earth with sensors that were decades ahead of human technology. Any normal person would have been terrified. Instead, Kate found herself smiling. "Well, this is interesting," Kate said. "Lisa, get me everything we know about that ship. Amy, I want you to start working on communication protocols." Dr. Amy Walsh looked up from her workstation. She was a scientist who studied the possibility of alien life and had spent years preparing for this moment. Amy had red hair and green eyes and a mind that could solve problems faster than most computers. "Admiral, we're not ready for first contact," Amy said. "Our protocols assume we would have more time to prepare." Kate's smile grew wider. "Doctor, the best time to be ready is right now. Besides, something tells me our visitors aren't here to exchange. Recipes." The alien ship continued its scans for 3 more days. Lirelai gathered all the information she needed about human military capabilities and found them laughably weak. The humans had managed to put a few small stations in orbit around their planet, but nothing that could threaten a proper warship. Their largest weapons could not even penetrate basic Empire armor. "Prepare the surrender demand," Lirelai told her communications officer. "Standard format. They have 24 hours to submit to Empire authority or face the consequences." The Smirk message that reached Earth was broadcast on every frequency that humans used for communication. It appeared on television screens and computer monitors around the world. The translation was perfect thanks to Empire technology that could decode any language within hours. "People of Earth." The message began, "You have been evaluated by the Zephyrian Empire. Your world contains resources that the Empire requires. You will surrender all military forces and submit to Empire authority within 24 hours. Compliance will result in peaceful integration into the Empire. Resistance will result in total conquest and enslavement. This is your only warning." World leaders panicked. Military commanders calculated impossible odds. Scientists tried to find weaknesses in alien technology that was centuries ahead of their own. But in the Deep Space Command Center, Kate Morrison did something that surprised everyone, including herself. She laughed. "Ma'am," Lisa Park said carefully. "Did you understand the message?" Kate nodded, still chuckling. "Oh, I understood it perfectly. Lisa, they want us to surrender because they have better technology. They think that makes this easy." Amy Walsh looked confused. "Admiral, we can't fight them. Their ship alone could probably destroy our entire fleet." Kate stopped laughing but kept smiling. She walked over to the communication station and activated the response transmitter. Her message would reach the alien ship in minutes, and she wanted to make sure they understood it perfectly. "This is Admiral Kate Morrison of Earth Defense Command responding to the Zephyrian Empire," she said in a clear, steady voice. "Thank you for the warning. We appreciate knowing what we're up against. However, we must respectfully decline your generous offer of surrender. If you want our world, you're going to have to come and take it." She cut the transmission and turned to her shocked staff. "Lisa, start preparing our defenses. Amy, begin studying everything we've learned about their technology. Everyone else get ready because this is going to be one hell of a fight." In the silver ship above, Lirelai stared at her communication screen in disbelief. No primitive species had ever refused surrender when faced with the Empire's superior technology. She read the human response 3 times to make sure she understood it correctly. "Captain Vex Alia, prepare the fleet for immediate deployment," she said finally. "It seems these humans need to learn about the consequences of defying the Empire." But as Vexalia sent the orders, she felt a strange sensation through her telepathic abilities. The human admiral's mind had not shown fear or desperation when she refused surrender. Instead, Kate Morrison had felt something that the Empire had not. Encountered in decades of conquest, she had felt excited. The Empire fleet arrived 3 days later like a storm of silver lightning. 200 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system and began their approach. Each vessel gleamed with the perfect engineering that had conquered 47 worlds. Energy weapons charged with power that could melt mountains. Shields hummed with force fields that had never been broken by primitive technology. Lirelai stood on the bridge of her flagship, studying the approaching blue world. The human response had annoyed her more than she wanted to admit. In 300 years of life, she had never encountered a species foolish enough to resist when faced with such overwhelming odds. The humans had exactly 30 ships defending their world compared to her 200. It would be the shortest conquest in Empire history. "All ships report ready for battle, Commander," announced her weapons officer. "Energy cannons are charged and shields are at maximum power." Lirelai nodded with satisfaction. The Empire's energy weapons could punch through any known armor, and their shields had deflected everything from plasma bolts to antimatter bombs. Against human projectile weapons, they might as well be fighting children with wooden swords. Captain Vex Alia monitored the telepathic emanations from the human fleet as they approached. What she sensed there continued to disturb her. The human mind showed no fear of death and no desperation at being outnumbered. Instead, they radiated a grim satisfaction that reminded her of predators preparing to spring a trap. "Commander, I am detecting unusual emotional patterns from the human fleet," Vex Alia reported. Their mental state does not match what I would expect from a species facing certain defeat. Lyrelay dismissed her concerns with a wave. Captain, you are reading too much into primitive emotions. These humans simply do not understand what they face. They will learn soon enough. On Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison stood in the command center of her flagship, watching the alien fleet approach. The ship was called the Defiance, and it represented the best of human engineering. Kate had insisted on the name because it perfectly captured humanity's response to impossible odds. Admiral, the alien fleet has taken position near our moon, reported Commander Lisa Park. They're maintaining standard battle formation and appear to be waiting for us to surrender. Kate studied the tactical display showing the positions of both fleets. The aliens had arranged their ships in a perfect geometric pattern that demonstrated their superior technology and discipline. The human fleet looked tiny by comparison, scattered around Earth in what appeared to be a desperate defensive formation. Lisa, signal all ships to hold position and wait for my command, Kate ordered. Amy, how are those sensor readings coming along? Dr. Amy Walsh looked up from her analysis station, where she had been studying the alien ships for the past hour. Admiral, their energy signatures are off the charts. Each of their ships has more firepower than our entire fleet combined. Their shields appear to be some kind of energy barrier that deflects incoming attacks. Kate nodded thoughtfully. What about weaknesses? Every technology has limits. Amy hesitated before answering. There might be something. Their shields seem designed specifically to stop energy weapons. The frequency patterns suggest they haven't encountered kinetic projectiles in their recent battles. Interesting, Kate said with that same dangerous smile that had worried her staff for days. It sounds like the Empire has been fighting the same type of enemies for so long they've forgotten about older technologies. The battle began when Lyrelay grew tired of waiting for human surrender. She ordered her fleet to open fire with a devastating energy barrage that should have vaporized every human ship in seconds. Brilliant beams of concentrated plasma lanced through space toward the small human fleet. Kate watched the incoming energy weapons and felt her heart race with anticipation. All ships activate absorption arrays, she commanded. Let's see how much of this they want to throw at us. The Empire's energy beams struck the human ships, and something impossible happened. Instead of exploding into debris, the human vessels absorbed the energy and converted it into power for their own systems. Lights that had been dim suddenly blazed brighter. Weapons that had been offline came back to full charge. The human fleet had not been weakened by the attack, but actually strengthened. Lyrelay stared at her tactical display in shock. Her sensors showed that every shot had hit its target, but the human ships remained intact. In fact, they appeared to be more powerful than before the attack began. Impossible, she whispered. Increase fire to maximum power. Concentrate all weapons on their flagship. The Empire fleet unleashed its full fury on the Defiance. Energy beams that could boil oceans focused on Kate's ship from dozens of different angles. The human vessel should have been reduced to atoms within seconds. Instead, the Defiance began to glow with absorbed energy. Its own weapons powered up to levels that should have been impossible for such primitive technology. Kate felt the ship vibrating around her as systems designed for this exact moment came online. Admiral, all ships report successful energy absorption, Lisa announced with barely controlled excitement. We're actually gaining power faster than we're losing it. Kate's smile became predatory. Perfect. All ships prepare to return fire. Let's show our guests what humans do with borrowed energy. Vexalia felt the moment when everything changed through her telepathic senses. The human minds that had been grimly satisfied suddenly blazed with fierce joy. It was the mental signature of hunters who had successfully lured their prey into a trap. Commander, something is wrong, she reported urgently. The humans are not behaving like a defeated species. They planned for this. Lyrelay was too focused on the impossible sensor readings to listen. Her most powerful weapons were having no effect on the human ships. Worse, the humans appeared to be using her own attacks to make themselves stronger. It violated everything. She knew about technology and warfare. All ships switched to rapid fire mode, she ordered desperately. Overwhelm their defenses with continuous bombardment. The Empire fleet began firing as fast as their weapons could cycle. The space around Earth lit up with energy beams, creating a light show visible from the planet's surface. For 10 minutes, the assault continued without pause. When it finally stopped, the Empire ships needed time to recharge their weapons. The human fleet hung in space, apparently undamaged and significantly more powerful than when the battle began. Kate Morrison stood on her bridge, feeling energy crackling through every system on her ship. The absorption arrays had worked exactly as designed. Human scientists had studied energy weapons theory for decades and had finally built defenses that turned the Empire's greatest strength into humanity's advantage. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison," Kate broadcast to her fleet. "The aliens have been kind enough to fully charge our weapons. I think it's time we returned the favor." What happened next shattered everything Lyrelay thought she knew about human capabilities. The small human fleet opened fire with weapons that moved faster than anything the Empire had encountered in centuries of conquest. Instead of energy beams, the humans used solid projectiles accelerated to 15% of light speed. The Empire's energy shields that had protected them from countless plasma weapons and particle beams were useless against chunks of metal, moving at relativistic velocities. The first railgun salvo punched through 3 Empire ships like they were made of paper. Secondary explosions lit up space as the projectiles transferred their kinetic energy into the alien vessels. "Shields down on multiple ships," reported Lyrelay's tactical officer in a voice tight with panic. "Their weapons are penetrating our defenses." Lyrelay watched in horror as her perfect formation broke apart under human fire. Ships that had conquered. Worlds were being destroyed by metal slugs fired from primitive chemical propulsion systems. The technology was older than the Empire itself, but devastatingly effective against shields designed for a completely different type of warfare. Captain Vexalia sensed the change in human emotions as their weapons found their targets. The grim satisfaction had transformed into something far more dangerous. The humans were not just defending their world anymore, they were hunting. "Commander, we need to withdraw and reconsider our approach," Vexalia urged. "The humans have capabilities we did not anticipate." But Lyrelay's pride would not allow retreat. She had brought 200 ships to conquer one primitive world. The idea that 30 human vessels could defeat the might of the Empire was unthinkable. "All ships maintain attack formation," she commanded. "Continue firing. Their defense cannot last forever." Kate Morrison laughed as she watched the alien fleet struggle to adapt to human weapons. "Lisa, take us closer to their flagship. Amy, keep analyzing their shield frequencies. I want to know everything about how their technology works." The battle continued with the human fleet using hit-and-run tactics that the Empire had never encountered. Human ships would dart in at high speed, fire their railguns, and retreat before the aliens could respond effectively. Each attack damaged or destroyed another Empire vessel, while the humans remained untouched. Dr. Amy Walsh worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the Defiance while the battle raged around her. Pieces of alien technology salvaged from destroyed Empire ships covered every surface of her lab. The crystalline power cores hummed with energy even when disconnected from their original systems. Amy had never seen anything like them, and her scientific mind raced with possibilities. "Melissa, bring me another one of those blue crystals," Amy called to her assistant. Engineer Melissa. Carter had volunteered to help analyze alien technology despite having no training in xenobiology. Like most humans, she adapted quickly to new situations, and her mechanical skills proved invaluable in understanding Empire engineering. Melissa handed over a crystal that pulsed with internal light. "Dr. Walsh, this thing is still generating power, even though we cut it out of a destroyed ship 3 hours ago. How is that possible?" Amy connected the crystal to her analysis equipment and watched the readings spike. "It's not just generating power, Melissa. It's resonating at a specific frequency that seems to be shared by every piece of Empire technology. Look at this." She pointed to a frequency display that showed all the alien crystals pulsing in perfect synchronization. Even pieces taken from different ships maintained the same resonant pattern. Amy realized she was looking at the foundation of Empire technology and possibly its greatest weakness. Meanwhile, Admiral Kate Morrison continued her tactical withdrawal toward Earth. The human fleet had destroyed 30 Empire ships while losing only 2 of their own, but Kate knew the aliens still had overwhelming numbers and would eventually adapt to human weapons. She needed to buy time for Amy's research while positioning her fleet for the next phase of her plan. "Lisa, take us through the asteroid belt," Kate ordered. "Make it look like we're running scared." Commander Lisa Park smiled as she understood her admiral's intentions. "Aye, ma'am. All ships adjust course for the belt. Try to look desperate while you're at it." The human fleet fled toward the asteroid field that lay between Earth and Mars. To the pursuing Empire forces, it appeared that the humans were seeking shelter among the rocky debris. Lyrelai ordered her remaining ships to follow and finish the battle before the humans could establish defensive positions. Captain Vexalia watched the retreat with growing suspicion. The human minds she monitored showed no trace of fear or desperation. Instead, their emotions remained focused and determined, like predators leading prey into a carefully prepared trap. "Commander, the humans are not actually fleeing," she warned. "Their mental state suggests this retreat is part of a larger plan." Lyrelai ignored her telepathic officer again. After losing 30 ships to primitive projectile weapons, she wanted revenge more than caution. The humans had embarrassed the Empire with their unexpected tactics, but they were still vastly outnumbered. Once she cornered them in the asteroid belt, the superior range and firepower of Empire energy weapons would end this humiliation. The Empire fleet followed the humans into the belt, expecting to find them hiding behind asteroids like frightened children. Instead, they discovered that humanity had been busy during the years since first detecting alien presence in their system. What appeared to be simple mining stations throughout the belt suddenly revealed their true nature. Kate Morrison stood on her bridge, watching tactical displays show Empire ships entering the kill zone she had spent 2 years preparing. "All stations, this is Admiral Morrison. The trap is sprung. Light them up." Hidden weapon platforms throughout the asteroid belt opened fire simultaneously. What the Empire had dismissed as primitive mining equipment revealed itself as the largest siege weapons humanity had ever built. Mass drivers designed to move asteroids became artillery pieces, launching house-sized rocks at the alien fleet. Lyrelai watched in horror as her ships came under bombardment from every direction. Asteroids accelerated to incredible velocities, smashed into Empire vessels with devastating effect. The aliens' energy shields that had failed against railgun projectiles were completely useless against multi-ton rocks moving at orbital speeds. "How many weapons platforms are there?" she demanded from her sensor operator. "Commander, I'm reading over 200 separate launch signatures," came the shaken reply. "The entire asteroid belt has been weaponized. Dr. Amy Walsh made her breakthrough." Just as the asteroid bombardment began, she had discovered that Empire technology relied on quantum resonance between crystalline components. Every ship weapon and device in the Empire fleet shared the same base frequency. More importantly, she had found a way to disrupt that frequency. "Admiral, this is Amy," she announced over the communication system. "I can take down their entire fleet, but I need you to get me close to their flagship." Kate Morrison grinned as pieces of the plan fell into place. "Copy that, Doctor. Lisa, plot an intercept course for the Empire command ship. All ships converge on my position." The Defiance accelerated toward Lyrelai's flagship, while asteroid bombardment continued around them. Empire ships tried to return fire but found themselves overwhelmed by attacks from multiple directions. The humans had turned the entire asteroid belt into a weapon, and there was nowhere to hide from the incoming projectiles. Captain Vexalia felt the moment when human emotions shifted from determination to fierce anticipation. Through her telepathic abilities, she sensed Dr. Walsh preparing something that would change the entire battle. The human scientist's mind blazed with the joy of discovery and the satisfaction of a puzzle finally solved. "Commander, the humans have learned something about our technology," Vexalia reported urgently. "They are preparing some kind of attack on our systems." Before Lyrelai could respond, Amy Walsh broadcast a precisely calibrated signal from the Defiance. The frequency wave spread through space at light speed, carrying instructions that every Empire crystal would recognize and obey. Within seconds, crystalline power cores throughout the alien fleet began destabilizing. Ships that had fought for centuries suddenly found themselves losing power. Weapons that had conquered worlds shut down without warning. Shields that had protected the Empire from every enemy flickered and died. The technological superiority that had made the Empire invincible turned into catastrophic weakness as their own systems turned against them. Lyrelai felt her flagship shudder as power systems failed. Throughout the ship, Emergency lighting cast red shadows across the bridge as backup systems struggled to maintain basic life support. Around her, the proud Empire fleet drifted helplessly in space as their technology collapsed. "What have they done to us?" she whispered. In shock, Amy Walsh had turned Empire engineering against itself. By broadcasting the right frequency, she had caused every crystalline power core in the alien fleet to enter destructive resonance. The more advanced the technology, the more vulnerable it became to her attack. The Empire's greatest achievements had become their greatest liability. Captain Jenny Turner led her fighter squadron through the chaos of disabled Empire ships. Human fighters were primitive compared to alien technology, but they worked perfectly well against targets that could not shoot back. Jenny's pilots called themselves Earth's Fury, and they lived up to their name as they systematically disabled alien vessels. "All right, people, the big ships are down, but watch for automated defenses," Jenny broadcast to her squadron. "Remember, we want prisoners and salvage, not just destruction." The human fighters moved through the Empire fleet like wolves among sheep. They targeted weapons and engines while leaving life support intact. Admiral Morrison had been clear about taking prisoners who could provide intelligence about Empire technology and strategy. Engineer Sarah Mitchell led boarding parties onto disabled Empire ships. Her teams had trained for months in alien ship layouts based on intelligence gathered from the first destroyed vessels. They moved through crystalline corridors with practiced efficiency, securing key areas and capturing stunned alien crews. "Admiral, we've secured the Empire flagship," Sarah reported from Liralay's bridge. "The commander and her staff are unharmed, but their ship is completely disabled." Kate Morrison felt a deep satisfaction as she surveyed the results of humanity's first space battle. The mighty Empire fleet that had arrived to conquer Earth now drifted helplessly among the asteroids. Over half their ships were destroyed or disabled. The survivors were being systematically captured by human boarding parties. Dr. Amy Walsh had achieved the impossible by reverse engineering alien technology in the middle of a battle. Her frequency weapon had proven that Empire advancement came with hidden vulnerabilities. Their standardized technology that had conquered dozens of worlds could be turned against them by anyone who understood the underlying principles. But Kate knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would learn from this defeat and return with countermeasures against human weapons. Worse, they would bring enough ships to overwhelm humanity through sheer numbers, even if their technology failed again. She looked at the tactical display showing scattered Empire survivors trying to escape toward the edge of the solar system. Some would make it back to report what had happened here. The Empire would know that humanity was not the primitive species they had expected. Lisa signaled all ships to pursue. "The retreating Empire forces," Kate ordered. "We're not letting any of them report back home just yet." The human fleet followed the retreating Empire ships deeper into space than any Earth vessel had ever traveled. Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance watching alien star charts that her prisoners had provided. 3 days of faster-than-light travel using captured Empire engines had brought them to Proxima Station, the forward base that controlled this entire sector. Dr. Amy Walsh worked alongside her new assistant, Captain Vex Alia, in the converted laboratory aboard the flagship. The telepathic alien had agreed to help humanity understand Empire technology in exchange for better treatment of her captured comrades. Amy found Vex Alia's mental abilities useful for understanding the deeper principles behind alien engineering. "The Empire builds everything according to standard patterns," Vex Alia explained as she touched one of the crystalline cores with her 4 hands. "Every ship weapon and station uses the same basic design. It makes manufacturing simple but creates vulnerabilities like the one you exploited." Amy nodded as she studied the resonance patterns. "That's why our frequency attack works so well. Your people optimized for efficiency instead of adaptability. Human technology is messier but more flexible." The conversation was interrupted when Commander Lisa Park announced that Proxima Station had appeared on their long-range sensors. The Empire base was massive compared to anything humanity had built. Docking bays that could hold hundreds of ships surrounded a central hub bristling with weapons and defensive systems. Kate Morrison studied the tactical display showing the station's formidable defenses. Under normal circumstances, attacking such a fortress would be suicide. But these were not normal circumstances, and humanity had advantages the Empire had never encountered. "Amy, how quickly can you modify our frequency weapon to work on a larger scale?" Kate asked. Dr. Walsh consulted her. "Calculations. Give me 6 hours and I can build a transmitter powerful enough to disable every Empire system in that station. The bigger question is whether we can get close enough to use it." Kate smiled, that dangerous smile her crew had learned to recognize. "Leave that part to me. Lisa, prepare the fleet for assault. We're going to knock on their front door." The attack on Proxima Station began with a deception that would have made any human general proud. Kate ordered her ships to approach the station, broadcasting fake distress signals on Empire frequencies. To the defenders, it appeared that the retreating fleet from Earth had returned damaged and requesting assistance. Station Commander Thanalor was a cautious elf who had maintained Proxima Station for 50 years without losing a single battle. When the approaching ships requested emergency docking, he followed standard protocols and allowed them into the outer defensive perimeter before beginning detailed scans. The deception held long enough for human ships to reach optimal range for Amy's frequency weapon. When the station's sensors finally identified the approaching vessels as captured Empire ships under human control, it was too late to prevent the attack. Amy Walsh triggered her enhanced frequency transmitter and watched with satisfaction as Proxima Station began shutting down. Lights dimmed throughout the massive structure as crystalline power cores destabilized in harmonic resonance. Defensive weapons that had never failed in half a century of operation went silent. Captain Rebecca Stone led the first wave of human Marines through the station's docking bays. Her assault teams had trained extensively in alien ship layouts using intelligence gathered from captured vessels. They moved through crystalline corridors with tactical precision, securing key areas before the defenders could organize resistance. The Empire troops defending the station had never faced an enemy inside their own fortifications. Their weapons and armor were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not close quarters fighting in narrow passages. Human Marines trained for urban warfare found the environment familiar and exploited every advantage. Rebecca's team reached the command center to find Commander Thanalor desperately trying to restore power to his station's defenses. The elf officer looked up in shock as human soldiers burst through doors that should have been sealed against any intruder. "Surrender now, and you will be treated according to military protocols," Rebecca announced. "Resist and we will take this station anyway, but with much more damage." Thanalor was a proud warrior who had served the Empire faithfully for 2 centuries, but he was also realistic enough to recognize when his position was hopeless. With no weapons, no shields, and no communications, he had no choice but to comply with human demands. Engineer Sarah Mitchell led technical teams through the stations computer systems while Rebecca's Marines secured the structure. Sarah had become humanity's expert on Empire technology, and she worked quickly to download everything stored in the station's databases. "Admiral, you need to see this," Sarah reported over the communication system. "The station's files contain detailed information about Empire fleet deployments throughout this entire region of space. They have over 3,000 ships spread across 20 systems." Kate Morrison felt a chill as she realized the true scope of what humanity faced. The fleet they had defeated at Earth was only a tiny fraction of Empire military power. If the aliens chose to commit their full strength against humanity, the war would be over before it began. But Sarah had found something else in the station's databases that changed everything. Deep in the classified files was information about ancient enemies that had once threatened the Empire. Machine intelligences from the galaxy's distant past that had been dormant for thousands of years but were beginning to stir again. "Admiral, the Empire has been preparing for war against something called the Void Machines," Sarah continued. "According to these files, the machines destroyed the previous galactic civilization 10,000 years ago. The Empire's expansion has been driven by the need to gather resources and allies for when the machines return." Kate studied the tactical reports about machine intelligence capabilities. Energy weapons that could crack planets, self-replicating fleets that grew stronger with every battle, artificial minds that calculated strategy across multiple star systems simultaneously. The machines made the Empire look like children playing with toys. Dr. Amy Walsh joined the discussion from her laboratory where she had been studying machine technology recovered by Empire expeditions. "Admiral, if these reports are accurate, then both humanity and the Empire are facing extinction. The machines are already active in the Outer Rim. Their scouts have been probing Empire defenses for months. Captain Vexalia provided the final piece of the puzzle through her telepathic analysis of captured Empire officers. Commander Morrison, the Empire leadership knows they cannot defeat the machines alone. That is why they have been so aggressive in conquering new species. They need every possible ally and resource for the coming war. Kate Morrison felt the weight of galactic history settling on her shoulders. Humanity had just won its first space battle against overwhelming odds only, to discover that far greater threats lurked in the darkness between stars. The Empire that had come to conquer Earth might actually represent the galaxy's best hope for survival. The situation became even more complex when long-range sensors detected incoming Empire reinforcements. Admiral Sarah Lynn commanded a fleet of 500 ships and had been dispatched to investigate the loss of contact with Proxima Station. Her arrival was expected within hours. "Admiral, we cannot fight 500 ships even with our technological advantages," Lisa Park reported. "We need to withdraw while we still can." But Kate Morrison was thinking beyond simple tactics. The intelligence gathered from Proxima Station had revealed possibilities that went far beyond winning or losing individual battles. Humanity had something the Empire desperately needed, and the Empire had resources that humanity could not survive without. "Lisa, prepare to broadcast a message on all Empire frequencies," Kate ordered. "Amy, make sure our prisoners can verify our intelligence about the machine threat. It's time to have a conversation that could change the course of galactic history." When Admiral Sarah Lynn arrived at Proxima Station, she expected to find human raiders fleeing with whatever they could carry. Instead, she found the station intact, but under human control. More surprisingly, she received a communication from Admiral Morrison that contained detailed intelligence about machine movements in the Outer Rim. Kate Morrison appeared on Sarah Lynn's view screen with the calm confidence of someone holding all the winning cards. Behind her stood Captain Vexalia and Commander Thanelor, both apparently unharmed and cooperating willingly with their human captors. "Admiral Sarah Lynn," Kate began, "I believe we need to discuss a situation that threatens both our peoples. The intelligence your own station gathered indicates that the real war is not between humanity and the Empire. The real war is between all organic life and the machines that once destroyed this galaxy." Sarah Lynn was an experienced commander who had won battles across multiple star systems. She recognized strategic genius when she saw it. The humans had not just defeated an Empire fleet and captured a strategic base. They had positioned themselves as essential allies in a conflict that would determine the fate of all sentient life. For the first time in Empire history, negotiation became more important than conquest. The age of easy victories was ending, and the age of desperate alliances was about to begin. Admiral Kate Morrison stood in the conference room aboard Proxima Station, facing the most important negotiation in human history. Across the crystalline table sat Admiral Sarah Lynn of the Empire Fleet, along with representatives from a dozen alien species. The atmosphere was tense as former enemies tried to become allies against a threat that could destroy them all. Dr. Amy Walsh presented her analysis of the machine intelligence data recovered from Empire databases. The holographic display showed star charts marking the locations where ancient automated fleets had been detected. Red symbols spread across the outer rim like an infection moving toward inhabited space. "The machines are not just returning," Amy explained to the assembled representatives. "They are adapting. Every probe we destroy teaches them something new about current technology. They learn from our weapons and defenses, then modify their own systems accordingly." Captain Vexalia used her telepathic abilities to verify the truth of human claims while simultaneously reading the emotional responses of Empire officers. Her unique position as both prisoner and advisor made her invaluable to the emerging alliance. "The humans speak truthfully," she reported. "Their analysis matches classified Empire intelligence about machine capabilities. More importantly, their emotional patterns show genuine concern for galactic survival, not just human interests." Admiral Sarah Lynn studied the tactical displays showing machine movements. In her 300 years of military service, she had never faced an enemy that could learn and adapt faster than organic minds could respond. The implications were terrifying for any species that valued independence. "What do you propose, Admiral Morrison?" Sarah Lynn asked carefully. The Empire has protocols for incorporating conquered species, but we have never negotiated with equals. Kate smiled that same dangerous expression that had worried her staff throughout this crisis. Admiral, I propose we stop thinking about conquest and start thinking about survival. Humanity has something you need, and you have something we need. Together, we might actually have a chance. The negotiations continued for hours, as both sides worked through the implications of alliance. The Empire brought advanced technology manufacturing capacity and knowledge of galactic politics. Humanity offered adaptability, innovation, and a completely different approach to warfare that the machines had never encountered. Commander Lyrali participated in the discussions from her position as a reformed prisoner. Her experience fighting humans had taught her to respect their capabilities, even when those capabilities seemed impossible by Empire standards. The humans do not think like us, she explained to her fellow officers. They see problems as opportunities, and disadvantages as potential weapons. Against an enemy that learns from conventional tactics, this mindset may be essential for victory. Dr. Amy Walsh worked with Empire scientists to combine human and alien technology in ways neither species had imagined. Her team included engineer Melissa Carter, who had become expert at integrating crystalline power systems with human engineering principles. Look at this, Amy said excitedly as she displayed her latest breakthrough. If we combine Empire energy, manipulation with human kinetic weapons, we can create projectiles that phase through conventional shields. The machines may adapt to energy weapons or kinetic attacks, but they cannot prepare for weapons that are both simultaneously. Engineer Sarah Mitchell led joint teams in retrofitting Empire ships with human technology, while human vessels received alien upgrades. The hybrid designs looked strange with smooth Empire curves interrupted by angular human additions, but they worked better than either technology alone. The first test of the new alliance came sooner than anyone expected. Long range. Sensors detected a machine scout fleet approaching the system where Proxima Station was located. 20 automated ships moved through space with mechanical precision that no organic crew could match. Kate Morrison took command of the combined fleet from her flagship, while Admiral Sarah Lynn coordinated Empire vessels. The human and alien ships had been working together for only days, but necessity forced rapid cooperation. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Kate broadcast to the mixed fleet. We are about to face an enemy that learns from every engagement. Our advantage is that they have never fought humans and Empire forces working together. Let's make sure they don't get a chance to adapt. Captain Jenny Turner led her fighter squadron in the opening attack, using new tactics developed through human-Empire cooperation. Her fighters carried Empire energy weapons, modified with human targeting systems, while being protected by hybrid shields that combined the best features of both technologies. The machine ships responded exactly as predicted by Empire intelligence. They analyzed incoming attacks, calculated optimal responses, and modified their defensive systems accordingly. But they had no experience with the chaotic unpredictability of human tactics combined with Empire precision. Jenny's fighters attacked in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully coordinated. They would strike with energy weapons, then switch to kinetic projectiles without warning. When the machines adapted to one attack pattern, the humans would immediately change to something completely different. The machines are struggling to process our tactical variations, reported Dr. Amy Walsh from her analysis station. Their learning algorithms are designed for logical opponents, not for humans who change strategy every few minutes. The main battle began when machine ships attempted to engage the combined fleet in conventional formation combat. They expected energy weapon exchanges at maximum range, followed by gradual maneuvering for advantage. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in their programming. Human ships equipped with Empire technology attacked with impossible speed and agility. They would appear at close range, fire devastating barrages, and vanish before the machines could respond. When mechanical minds tried to track human movements, the aliens would attack from completely different directions using entirely different weapons. Admiral Sarah Lynn coordinated Empire vessels in support of human attacks using tactics her people had never attempted. Instead of maintaining perfect formations, her ships scattered across the battlefield providing covering fire while human vessels conducted hit-and-run attacks. Admiral, the machines are attempting to withdraw and analyze our tactics, reported Commander Lisa Park. Should we pursue? Kate Morrison studied the tactical display showing machine ships pulling back toward the edge of the system. Every instinct told her to let them escape and avoid risking the fragile alliance in pursuit of fleeing enemies. Instead, she made a decision that would define the character of the Human Empire partnership for centuries to come. All ships pursue and destroy, she ordered. We cannot allow them to report our new capabilities back to their main fleets. Today, we send a message that organic life will not go quietly into extinction. The combined fleet chased the retreating machines across the star system in a running battle that showcased the potential of Human Empire cooperation. Working together, the two species could achieve things that neither could accomplish alone. When the last machine ship was destroyed, Kate Morrison felt a satisfaction deeper than any victory she had ever achieved. Humanity had not just survived first contact with alien intelligence. They had found allies and together faced a threat that could have destroyed both civilizations. Commander Lyrelai stood beside Kate on the bridge of the Defiance, watching debris from machine ships drift through space. The elf officer who had once planned to conquer Earth now served as liaison between human and Empire forces. Admiral Morrison, Lyrelai said formally, I must ask your forgiveness for the arrogance my people showed when we first arrived at your world. We thought technological superiority made us invincible. You have taught us that survival requires more than advanced weapons. Kate turned to face her former enemy with a smile that was warm instead of dangerous. Commander, you came to our system expecting an easy conquest and instead found a war that will test everything both our species can achieve. I'd say that worked out exactly as it was supposed to. Dr. Amy Walsh joined them carrying data tablets, filled with plans for new hybrid technologies. Admiral, we've identified 17 different machine intelligence strongholds in the Outer Rim. With our combined capabilities, we can begin systematic operations to eliminate them before they adapt to our tactics. Captain Vexalia used her telepathic abilities to sense the emotional state of both human and Empire crews. What she found there gave her hope for the future of galactic civilization. Admiral, the minds I read show no trace of the conquest mentality. That drove Empire expansion, she reported. Humans and aliens alike are thinking of protection rather than domination. This alliance may become something greater than either species imagined. Kate Morrison looked out at the stars, knowing that, somewhere in the darkness, ancient machines were preparing for war against all organic life. The challenge would test every quality that made humanity and the Empire worth preserving. But for the first time since detecting that first alien probe, she felt genuinely confident about the outcome. The Empire had come to Earth expecting to crush primitive resistance with overwhelming technology. Instead, they had found partners who met impossible odds with creativity, determination, and that uniquely human response to being threatened.